Today we are talking about editorial planning, which is a fancy word for content strategy and figuring out what to post, when to post it. We are constantly bombarded with the concept of the need for digital marketing and putting yourself online, social media, right? But not a lot of people tell us how to post, when to post, why to post it. The strategy side of things kind of gets lost in the abyss of behind the need, right? So we know we need to do it. What are we supposed to be posting? And the reason I think that people aren't telling us what we're supposed to be posting is because it is different for every single person. So when we're editorial planning or putting together a content strategy, I want you to know that this is completely customizable to yourself, your needs, your business, and the way that you do things. And if we can customize this to your ideal style of content, then we can create a plan that you are going to most likely follow, right? If it's a plan that you made, hopefully it's a plan that you'll want to follow. I do know that some days I'm feeling a little more ambitious than other days, like bright and early on a Monday morning, I'll sit down and make a list of all of the things I want to accomplish for the week. And then come Friday, I don't feel quite that ambitious to finish off the list. And maybe I only got halfway done with it. However, I know that if I put 10 things on that list of big things I want to accomplish by the end of the week, and I only accomplish 5 of them by the end of the week, it's still farther along in the game than I would have been if I didn't make the list in the first place. So that is my advice for you for this content strategy editorial planning session. It's exciting and it's fun. And when we have the energy and ambition to create these plans, know that we're writing our goals in pencil, which means these are guidelines to help you and not rules to intimidate you or keep you from doing anything. Okay, so that's my spiel on making a good plan. So we went through the what is it, why does it matter, and how do we do it? How is it can be done a lot of ways. This is a strategy that I found works really well for me. These are guidelines pulled from multiple different marketing gurus over the years. I don't have anything really to credit today. It's really just notes that I've been taking over the years, and I've kind of come up with my own strategy. They are, I mean, it is proven and it does work really well, so bear with me in all of this, but here we go. I think that an editorial strategy needs to be built on story. And I think that the main thing about your story that sets you apart from the realtor sitting next to you is your lifestyle forward, your you-ness, right? Nobody is youer than you. And I think that that is something that you really need to pay attention to when we're putting this planning together, is that you're putting a real piece of yourself out there. A reason that we do that is, I mean, social media is just an extension of yourself. This editorial planning phase can come at the beginning of this class series. So this phase, this step of the process could be step 1. I chose to put it at the end of the process because now you know how to use multiple platforms to get these messages across and to tell your story. And we can put this plan into action starting today rather than trying to figure out how to use Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and everything else. We can just move right on into the action side of things. I do have some worksheets that I will link here at the end of the class. I'll link the Dropbox links to this actual course so that you can go see them. and fill them out and use them for yourself. I will also let you know, towards the end of this class, we are going to talk a little bit about going live and live streaming a virtual tour. So we've been getting a lot of questions about that. So we're going to segue and kind of do a little bit on how to and what to do, planning, preparation, and the attack of going through a virtual tour. But let's jump into editorial planning. So I'm looking here. Oh, it's right here. I have a 6-month editorial plan worksheet right here. The prequel to this worksheet, and I'll actually share my screen here, is understanding the consumer journey. Let me just share my screen. So in our very first, if you remember, our very first class, we talked about defining your target market. And a big part of that was understanding the consumer journey. So this is kind of the research phase of editorial planning, is understanding who you're talking to. So if you're not familiar with defining your target audience, you can tune into one of my earlier classes about defining your target audience and go through those worksheets, do those exercises and figure out who it is exactly that you're talking to. Now we're also going to look at this consumer journey worksheet, which I also covered in a previous class in the first month of this series. But I do want to bring it up again. So what phase of the consumer journey are we speaking to our audience in? What phase is most useful for you to speak to, right? So if you're thinking about a buyer or a seller in their journey, in this specific instance, like a buyer, is going to be engaged in the idea. They're going to start educating themselves on what it is they're wanting to buy. Then they're going to start looking into it, research it, evaluate it. They're going to justify their decision to make a move, and then they're going to purchase. These 3 steps, most people are focusing all of their energy right here. I think that it is a missed opportunity, a huge missed opportunity, if you're not focusing more attention to this area, the aftermath, the follow-up, review, retain, and then the when the consumer has purchased and is happy with their purchase. If they're proud of what they've done, they're going to advocate who they purchased with, and that creates brand loyalty. Again, we talked about this in one of our earlier classes, so if you want to dive into this process a little bit more, I think it's either the 2nd or 3rd class of that first month we talked, I think it's actually the 3rd class of that first month we talked about all of these things. So my challenge to you is to take this worksheet, which I'll post in the comments, a link into the comments, your marketing message. What do you have to say to the person who is exploring the idea of maybe purchasing a home or maybe selling their home, right? Your consumer is also, in your instance, could also be a seller. What is your message to that specific person? When they are in the consideration phase, which is a very important phase, what is your message to that seller, and how are you going to get them to consider you? When they're evaluating and assessing their needs, how are you meeting their needs? And when they're making that decision, how can you help them justify the purchase? I would say it's pretty obvious how you can justify the purchase of a home. And then helping them with that purchase, what is your message, and how can you advocate that you're the right person to help them purchase? By this time, like between the justification and the purchase moment, they've probably decided on what realtor they're going with, and that is a very valuable time for you. But you can also advocate, these people are going with me and this is why, and it makes you a trusted advisor and a leader in your industry. This is a really important time to come up with a marketing message that creates it proves that you're the leader of the industry. What is your message to the purchaser in the deciding phase? And then the advocates. What is your marketing message? Not necessarily to the advocates, unless it's like a thank you, but what is it? What is your message about? I would take the buyers or sellers that you've worked with, your clients in the past, and actually push that information of how their experience was out and use testimonials, right? This is a testimonial phase, and we know how well that works. But there's lots of creative ways that you can do that. So with this in mind, the consumer journey, it's a big part of the story. I want you to think about all of our editorial planning and our content strategy as a storytelling process, and understanding the consumer journey from start to finish is a big part of understanding the story that you need to be telling, right? So to go back, identifying your target market, this worksheet I will add also. We did this exercise in a previous class. If you'd like to go check that one out, I definitely advise that you go check that out. On to editorial plan, a 6-month editorial plan. So I started this early in the spring. This is a specific one that I had filled out already, and I will, before I post it, I'll go ahead and take the months out of there so you can customize it however you would like. But it starts in March and we're actually in May. So actually I can go in here and just edit it from here. The first step. Like this. May. All right. Okay. Number one thing to do. And I've said this over and over again about a lot of things, just about every platform you're on. We need to create a statement of intent. Okay. A statement of intent. Why are we here? Why are we planning this editorial calendar? What is our goal? And what is the purpose for the content that we're going to be posting at the end of the day? It might be, I mean, for you, capturing leads, right? That could be easy peasy. Statement of intent, capturing leads. So I'll write that down here. Capturing leads is a statement of intent for the 6-month editorial plan. Okay, well, how or why? How are we doing this? My strategy to capture leads, and it's kind of a general strategy for any business, is through educating, engaging, and entertaining my audience as to making them understand that I'm the leader in the industry. So I have actually jumped ahead in this one and put it right here, but I'll put my statement of intent in here. Edit. Let's see, text. We will go educate, engage, and entertain potential clients to demonstrate leadership in the industry. Okay. Now, that's not my personal statement of intent, but if I was a realtor, that's something that would probably be applicable as a statement of intent. And that's kind of broad. However, there's a lot of good pieces of intention in there, right? I want to educate my clients. I want them to engage with me, and I want to engage with them and entertain. I think that the agent that I was working with on this specific piece was a really entertaining type person, and they had beautiful, beautiful homes. So we put that into a topic of entertainment, because real estate can act as a form of entertainment. So beautiful homes, right? So that was the entertain side of things. Me personally, I'm not very funny, and I'm not very entertaining. So I don't know that I would personally put entertaining in there. Maybe I would say inform or enlighten. I don't know if I enlighten people, but I might come up with a different piece, or just demonstrate my leadership in the industry. So with that, I've actually taken those pieces of that intention and separated it out: educate, engage, and entertain. And that's skipping ahead a little bit, but just so you know, that's where that came from. Okay, now the general storyline. With that statement of intent being very specific, very intentional, that's going to be our underlying to-do, and it's our mantra. We're living by that in everything that we do moving forward. However, we don't have to, I mean, it's a guideline, right? So in our general storyline, this is the broad view, and then we're going to get more specific. Another thing that I do want you to do prior to coming up with this specific plan is to define yourself and your business. So 1, we've written our statement of intent. 2, I want you to define yourself and your business. And this is the lifestyle forward side of things. So write down, who am I? What do I do? What does it matter? And why does it matter? So over here, I can just write this here. 1, state. 2, define yourself and your business. And then number 3, define your target audience, which we already talked about. In that class where we talked about defining your target audience, we also talked about defining your ideal client. So a lot of people jump into real estate, and for like right out of the gate, they'll say they'll sell anyone a home at any time for any price. I would love to work with anyone. I just need a buyer or a seller. I just need clients. That's fine when you're starting, of course, but when you're getting more busy, you have more people coming in. It's nice to be specific about who you're working with. You are always going to do a better job with the people that you align with and that you like. So your ideal client should be someone you like working with, and that should be who you're marketing to, rather than marketing to the entire world. And that's why we like to be specific with our message, specific with putting who we personally are out there. Because if I personally align my business by aesthetic standards, I think that every home that I sell should be beautiful because I'm an artist. This is just an example. If that's my standard, and then I have somebody who's selling, a dump that needs to be mowed over, then maybe we don't align, and maybe our values don't align. Maybe that's not my ideal client, right? I don't know if I want to be selling those kinds of homes. Again, that's a general example, but think about who your ideal client is and definitely write it down. Use that worksheet. I'll post it at the end of this class so you can write it down for yourself. Okay, our next step is going to be, before we start our actual planning, is going to be analyzing your platforms. So what is working for you as far as social media, any digital platforms, email marketing, phone prospecting, what's working for you? And write down every single platform that you're using that works for you. And then also write down what you are doing that is not working for you. If you're prospecting on the phone and you're really bad at it, it's not working for you, maybe you should stop doing it. But it's really good to take note and inventory of what is working and what isn't working. And it's also kind of a reality check. You know, if you say that you're prospecting on the phone and you're actually only calling 2 people a week, does that really count? And can you really check it off as something that's not working, or that you that's not doing it? Analyzing the platforms is really important for the sake of getting yourself in check too. So what is working? What isn't working? What are you not doing? Also, what would you like to add to the list? Okay. Our next step is going to be setting goals. So for our editorial planning, our posting, or our messaging, how we're going to push it out there, let's start thinking about, are we going to be email marketing once a week? Are we going to be posting on Facebook once a day? Are we going to be posting on Facebook 3 times a week? Are we going to be posting on Instagram stories every day and put a new Instagram post every week? What are our goals as far as pushing things out? And then, you know, take one step back from that. What are our goals for interaction and engagement on these things? Do we want people to message us on Facebook? Is that our goal? Well, then we need to be focusing our time on Facebook. Do we want people to pick up the phone and give us a phone call? Well, then we need to put our phone number on absolutely everything. Remember that second lesson of talking about funneling and how we, you know, build that organic funnel. That's another really, really good lesson that ties into this class. And I think if you didn't see it, go watch it. If you want a refresher, it's on our channel. It's under the marketing section. So go look at building a funnel. But set your goals and write them down. Again, write them in pencil, and we'll come back to them in a few weeks, right? Okay, number 6, break it down. We are going to break it down into story. So this is my concept of define and refine. I love saying this, but we're going to start really general with our story, and then we're going to get more specific as we go, and then we're going to pull posts, and it's actually really fun to do. We'll pull posts from our general story. So I am going to make this up as I go. My statement of intent is to educate, engage, and entertain potential clients and demonstrate my leadership in the industry. So I'm trying to prove myself while educating, engaging, and entertaining potential clients. General storyline. Okay, what do I want people to know about myself, my business, and how I can help them? This is difficult. This is the hardest part. If you want to back up a little bit, you can start with the seasons, and that's why I put spring and summer here. So it's actually more into summer and then into fall. You can put little notes about what time of year it is. So in May, we have Mother's Day. In June Is Father's Day in June? Summer, July, 4th of July, August, school, question mark? September, fall, October, Halloween. Brainstorming here, okay? So these are like solid things that we know are going on, might help us out. Now, how does real estate fall into these categories? How does real estate pertain to May, start of the season, start of the real estate season? It's really good time to sell, right? June, season is continuing to move forward. It's the summertime. July, the brink of the season, everyone's moving, trying to get things done before, you know, school starts. We know that there's a big push in July. Statistics, right now, this May, I want it, let me alt. I'm trying to copy it. Whatever. We are also we're questioning the direction of real estate and trying to understand the market. Actually, let's do that. Understanding the market, the start of the season. The season is actually, as we discussed this morning, is actually a little bit delayed. It seems like May is the new March, is what somebody said this morning. And then, you know, what's going on in the summertime? Well, we don't know until we get there, but those are things that we can put in there that are interesting to people and pertain to this situation, right? Our general storyline for ourselves. What do we want people to know about us? I'm going to make these smaller so that, okay. So if you don't want to talk about yourself, these are really good ways to get your mind working about like a general timeline. But your general storyline about yourself, maybe this is the introduction. Maybe you're starting a brand new business, or maybe this is the first campaign that you've ever pushed yourself out onto. So introduction. Who are you? And what am I all about? Who are you? What are you all about? Sorry, guys, this is a mess. A little bit of a mess. But it's good. It's just a brainstorm, right? So if I'm introducing myself at the beginning of the season, we're understanding the market. That's a really nice start to my editorial story, right? Next, in June, we could talk about, we could get a little more personal. Let's see, intro to personal hobbies and interests. So a little bit about me and what I like to do. And then we could also talk about maybe favorite homes, your favorite style of homes. And you could talk about favorite clients, or maybe your favorite type of clients. Who do you enjoy helping and why do you enjoy helping them? Okay, we're just gonna do 3 months for the sake of moving forward in good time. 4th of July, in July for our campaign, if I'm educating, engaging, and entertaining potential clients, I also, what do I want them to know about me? I can talk about standards of practice. I have a high standard of practice. I can talk about my credentials. and why others have chosen to use me. Okay, so intro, we're getting a little bit personal, and then we're talking about why people have chosen me. And this is over 3 entire months. And these are just concepts and ideas of the storyline of who I am, what I do, and why it matters. So intro, who I am. This June is, what I do. And then in July, why it matters. That's kind of a nice flow to things. Okay, now our intention with this concept standing behind it is to educate, engage, and entertain. In the introduction, who am I? If this was really, really specific and I'm going into my lifestyle, which I definitely encourage. My personal lifestyle, I like to paint and I like to ride horses. I wonder if I can incorporate the educate, engage, entertain side of things into what makes me tick and what makes me excited about working with real estate people who are also, or working with buyers or sellers who are also interested in painting and or riding horses. Every single person is going to be a little bit different. On the educate side of things, I don't know that I want to educate too much about riding horses and painting, unless it's like how to, that might actually go really nicely into June, but how to purchase a farm, your very first 5-acre farm or something like that. In this case, if I'm introducing who I am, what I'm all about, and the start of the season in the market, the educate portion could come. Actually, it might be more interesting to put educate after engage and entertain, but for the sake of this, we'll do market stats. And then to engage, we could do an introduction post. Introduce yourself, or how can I get people to engage with figuring out who I am and how I can help them? I could maybe go live, right? Or I could do a giveaway. Based on my theme or concept of May as the introduction, the start of the season, introducing myself and my new business, I'll do an introduction post. Introduce my business. Maybe I'll do like a launch post launching, Liz Coomer Real Estate, and I'll do a giveaway if you join my live stream to talk about what I do and why I want to do it. And then on the entertaining side, I could do personal video, personal hobbies. Or I could do what is entertaining about me. I could do a live open house, which we will talk about in about 10 minutes. Okay, and now moving on into into the summer intro to personal hobbies and interests. Educate. I could educate about. Could do purchasing acreage, right? Because it's pertinent to what I like to do. And that sets me aside. So I could do an educational piece or post on purchasing acreage. To engage, how can I get people to engage? I could do a survey on favorite home, or a survey on, favorite homes and favorite clients. And then for entertainment, I could do another live open house. Okay. Oops. So these are specific topics that we're speaking about. So market statistics would be the first week's topics. In our engagement week, we're doing an introduction post. We could go live or do a giveaway. And for the entertainment section, we're doing a live open house. And that's with, you know, that is with a question mark if that's something that you're into. We have a free week. So any sort of fun thing that you know, aligns with what we're talking about, you can throw in there. You can also move things around. The cool thing about this is, you know, everything is just a guideline. So if something changes, it's really helpful to be able to be flexible with these things. I've heard a lot of people talk about, you know, when they create an editorial plan, you can create it like 2 months prior, and then they set it out to post and automate everything. And they automate everything and it rolls out on its own. And you can hire people to do that for you, and you can, you know, pay an algorithm to make these things happen for you and random posts go out. One thing that I have always heard like a million times is that having things automated takes away the personal touch and kind of disengages the fact that you're present. Like you can tell you're not present behind the computer 90% of the time when you have a robot posting for you. Another thing is in our, you know, the political climate or our, right now, our economic climate, or and like the sake of the health of everyone, you know, something could happen. And if you have automated posts going out, it's not always appropriate to post. And I've heard that over and over again, that's why people shy away, because they really like being aware of their environment that they're posting in, like the social environment, if it's appropriate or not. Now more than ever has proven that it is so much better to have a plan that you are in control of in our posting like social atmosphere. So it's really nice to have the plan, but also have it written in pencil, right? So we can erase and try it again if it doesn't quite work out with where we're at with things. And also, you know, you might get inspired with a new idea. You might throw ideas out. A lot of times I'll write, you know, we have 5 weeks, but I'll write we have 4 weeks in a month, but I'll write 5 topics so that I have an extra one in case I want to switch things out. This is a really good thing to do every quarter, is to write out your editorial plan. Start with story from the start to the finish. So if you're in a new build, maybe the start of your story is the introduction to the build, the story of how it's going up, and then you know, the final phase of selling the home. That could be a really good editorial plan from start to finish, and could produce some really, really nice posting topics. So from here, once I get this into a beautiful plan that tells a lovely story of who I am, what I do, and why it's important, or, you know, if it's your, whatever process it is, whatever storyline you're going through, then I'll print this out and I will compare it to an actual calendar. So I'll go onto my calendar and I'll go back to my goals. And if I want to post 3 times a week, and it's week 1 of May, and I'm going to go into market statistics, I'm going to educate this week, and I'm going to post 3 times. Then I need to come up with 3 different pieces about the market that I'm going to post about, and preferably in different ways, not just typing out a statement on market stats. And we've talked about that, like how to post in, you know, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, where to post and what to do. So from here, these are your general guidelines. Then you go into your calendar and you post where you're going to post things, and what time of day you're going to post them, and get it scheduled. It's very fun. So do you have any questions? Nobody's asked any questions yet. I don't even know if I have anyone on. Is this making sense? Is anyone out there? Is it just me? Okay. Well, for editorial planning, the 6 steps. Number 1, you're going to write a statement of intent, and it's important that you write a very good statement of intent. Number 2, you're going to define yourself and your business. Who are you? What do you do? And why does it matter? Number 3, you're going to define your target audience. Who is your target audience? What do they do? And why does this matter to them? Why does what you do matter to that person? Number 4, you're going to analyze your platforms. What's working for you? What isn't working for you? What's working for your peers? What's not working for your peers? And what would you like to add to the list of what you're doing? What new platforms could you potentially add to your list? Number 5, you're going to set goals. I like to set goals 3 months at a time. This is 6 months in advance just to keep me thinking forward, but 3 months is plenty. 1 month is good also. And then break it down. We're going to define and refine. So start general and then get specific. The general storyline, think about seasons, think about the time of the year, think about where the market is going to be in that time of the year. Think about, our social climate and what's happening. And then break it down, get more specific and craft it into your story and own it in your story. Awesome. Craft your story. Do we have any questions before I move on? We are going to talk about going live, and this is one piece that you can add to your editorial calendar. Maybe you go live once a week. Going live is something that is pretty intimidating to people, and it shouldn't be. With a little bit of planning, you can go a long way with a live virtual tour or a live introduction, a live event. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We good to move on? All right, we're moving on. I'll put this. I'll add this to our PDF that I send to you, or that I post on here. I'm getting pinged. I wonder if I'm getting questions on my phone. Okay, so I have 15 minutes. Let's talk about going live really fast. I'll get out of this, out of that. Stop sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Going live. There have been a plethora of questions about doing virtual tours, how to do a virtual house tour, and going live on Facebook or Instagram. What's the best platform? How should I do it? What's the right ways to do it? What's the wrong ways to do it? And the answer is there's no one right way to do it, but there are some really good guidelines and tips and tricks that we can share with you on how to have a successful virtual tour or a live event. I wrote notes on it, so I'm going to follow my notes so I don't forget anything. And this is actually something that I suggest. So going live isn't something that I had done a lot prior to COVID, but more and more recently, I've been having to go live a lot for work, and then for home, like at home, we've actually been doing live horse riding lessons, and I've been giving live painting lessons, and I'm getting pretty good at it. It's actually really fun, and I've learned a lot, and I would love to share some of the tips, tools, tricks, all the fun things that we're learning here going live. you know, a lot of people on our leadership team have been going live too, and they've said, Alicia has given me a lot of her tips of what she's been learning. So we put it all in one place, and hopefully we can help you have a successful live event and turn that into a beautiful virtual home tour so that you can keep your clients interested in what's going on. My number one quote that I love so much is failing to plan is planning to fail. So if you are going live, if you go in without a plan, it's going to be pretty difficult for you. It is awkward being in front of the screen, especially when you're going live to an audience that cannot respond. When you're live on Instagram or you're live on Facebook, you are essentially talking to a piece of equipment, whether it's your computer or your phone or your iPad. You're not talking to anyone to respond back to you, and that's really pretty awkward, and it takes a little bit of practice. If you actually go back, you know, 6 weeks to when I first started doing these classes, it's very awkward, but it gets better as you go. Less and less awkward to talk to the computer. So practice makes perfect when it comes to doing those live streams. And then also understand your audience and what their needs are, and that will tell you what platform to go live on. So you can go live on Facebook, and it does a really, really great job. You can go live on Instagram. It also does a great job. I actually like Instagram better sometimes because the delay is quite a bit less. There's less of a delay, so when people are asking questions, they don't come in a minute later. However, the audience is usually lighter for me on Instagram. I get more people on Facebook watching than I do on Instagram. You cannot go live on multiple platforms at the same time. I can't be live on Facebook and Instagram on one computer or iPhone or phone of any sort, but I can use multiple devices, which gets really confusing and frustrating, but you can do it. You can also go live on YouTube. If you have a YouTube following, that's fantastic. Facebook and YouTube will save it. Instagram will also save it and turn it into a video. So that's just a little bit about the platforms. If you're going live to a broad spectrum of people, those 3 platforms are fantastic: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you are trying to show it to specific people, if you're trying to show a house or have an event, a live event of any sort, for a specific group of people, whether it's 1 person or 100 people who are all interested in the same thing, I would suggest using Zoom or something along the lines of Zoom, so that it can be a meeting format, so that you can have other people's faces on the meeting, so there's some interaction available. Whether or not you have their mics on, just being able to see the other people in the meeting is really helpful for the sake of interaction. And right now we are craving interaction. So if I was giving a house tour specific to like one family, I would probably tune them in, or maybe I'm working with another realtor, or maybe I have, I don't know, if you have like 3 people that are interested in seeing the house at the same time, it would be really more fun if you put them on a Zoom meeting and had them all tune at the same time. So then you can turn their mic on or you can leave it off, but then at least they're seeing reactions. If you have their mics on, then they can ask questions in real time, and it works really, really nicely. So if it's private, do a private meeting through Zoom. If it's public and you just want the whole world to see the beautiful inside of this beautiful home, then make it public via Facebook, link, Instagram, or YouTube. Okay. Anytime you're doing a live event, whether it is a house tour or you know, your virtual tour or whatever it may be, you need to treat your live event as though it is a real live event that you're actually hosting in real life. I know that that sounds silly, but a lot of times people treat social media as like a separate entity, and while it is sort of, it needs to be an extension of your actual life in real life. So if you're hosting an open house and you're not prepared for it in real life, it's not going to go very well for the people who come to it. If you do an open house in virtual life and you're not prepared for it, it's not going to run very well for you either. Does that make sense? So it's a real life event and you need to treat it as this. So, and plan, schedule, prepare, and get yourself ready for it, just like you would any other situation. Maybe you don't need to put food out, but who knows, maybe it's a nice aesthetic touch. So on that note, how you think about it, why will people show up? Will people show up in the first place? Who's going to show up to this event? Why are they going to show up to this event? For what? What reason are they showing up? If it's just a general public event, you can't just say, hey, everyone, come to my open house and expect everyone to tune in. It takes quite a bit of planning and a little bit of marketing to make it happen, right? So write these things down. What is your purpose? Set your intention, write down a statement of intent, and ask yourself, is this specifically just for a meet and greet? Are we having an event just to meet and hang out because we need a social hour? Is this a show and tell? Am I showing somebody something like an open house, virtual open house? Is this show and tell? Is it a learning opportunity? Maybe you were learning about where the market is at, and if you're a potential buyer, is it best to buy now or is it best to wait 6 months? I don't know the answer to that. Maybe you know the answer and you can tell me. Is it a learning opportunity? Or is this an entertaining piece? Sometimes showing a house, like if this is a home on the Parade of Homes, that's really entertaining. And even if I'm not in the market, I would love to see, what beautiful things are in this, beautiful features are on this home that you're going to show. So is it, set the tone for your open house and be specific about the tone that you're setting. Why are you here and what is it for and why should I come? You need to write these things down because it's how you're going to market to get people to show up for your open house. You need to use a really strong title for your event. If it is an open house on, in a beautiful mid-century home on the bench, you need to figure out how to title it so that people want to come. Beam your party, make it attractive and strong and short and concise and accurate, and make people want to show up. You need to also plan the event on social media by creating a Facebook event. Facebook does a really good job of creating events that you can actually invite people to. So if you're doing an open house, you can go in and invite your friends to it. Let them know that it's a virtual event, and link. It's super easy. You can the simple steps. Actually, I'll share my screen and I'll show you. Uh-oh. Oops. Okay. Maybe I'll share my screen. I don't know what happened. There we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm just on my personal page. You can do this from your business page also, but you go to create and we'll go to event. So over here, the event name, you need to come up with your strong title, like we said. So mid-century open house. Oops, I can't see. It's not that strong of a title, but you get the gist. And then you can put the link back to your Facebook page because that's where it would live, right? That's where you're going live. We should put live. Location's not necessary. And then tell people about your event. You can put it exactly when you're going to go live, add it and add any co-hosts. You can create it private or you can create it publicly. Oops. You can only create events like that on Facebook. You cannot do the same thing on Instagram or YouTube, but you can actually plan a live thing on YouTube. We will do a YouTube class in the future. We missed it last week, unfortunately. However, I'll reschedule that and I can show you how to go live on YouTube. So plan the event on social, use a Facebook event, make announcements as if it's like a party, right? Make announcements on Facebook. I'm so excited to go live on Saturday to show you this beautiful mid-century home. You can do a live story. Do live stories on Facebook and Instagram. If it's just a Facebook Live, you can still post it on Instagram and then post your link back from to Facebook from your Instagram so that people can go see and go there. Post it in a million different places. Post it on LinkedIn, every platform that you're on. Let people know that you're going to be doing this. And be specific about the time. You're going to prepare. So once you've planned all these things and you're marketing it and you're pushing it to get people there, you need to prepare. You need to run a technology test. Make sure that your phone is working. A lot of times, I can go live here in the office, but then if I go down the street and try to go live, the screen doesn't show up, or it gets really grainy, or my service is really bad. So you need to make sure that your equipment is going to work. Even just this morning, we had some issues with mics going live for our morning meeting. Fortunately, we always do a tech test prior. So make sure you do a technology test and make sure it's working. And make sure you do have a backup just in case it doesn't work. You need to prepare your intro. I know this sounds silly because it's really easy to introduce yourself in real life, but it's really nice to be able to just look down and look at a bullet point and say, oh yeah, I am Liz and this is what I'm doing. Because sometimes you forget. There's a lot of, there's some random nerves that show up when you're going live, and it gets easy to ramble. So I would definitely write down bullet points. Prepare your intro, and then also be very specific about the time of day that you're going to be posting or going live. Most people are, right now schedules are nuts. Who knows where we're at with who can watch when. Most people can probably watch most of the time at this time right now, but there's a reason we do open houses, on Saturdays and Sundays, because people can come to them. So going live on a Saturday afternoon, that might be the perfect time. Right now, going live on a Tuesday afternoon might be the perfect time because a lot of people are still home. But be really considerate about the time of day that you're going live. Okay, let's see. During your open house, make bullet points. I already said that. You need to, I would have a partner if you can. If you can have a partner following you with the camera, that's ideal. You can also do a selfie video, and that's just fine. Just make sure you know how to flip the screen so that when you're talking about something, you're talking this way. And then you can flip the screen so that it shows the rest of the home. Tell people what you're going to tell them, then tell them, and then tell them what you told them. So reiterate your message. Tell your message in the beginning, then tell your detailed message, and then at the end, tell your message again so that people really get it. And that's a really nice way to lay out any presentation. Interact. It's really important to interact. If people have questions, they can type them in the comment section. Make sure you're paying attention to the comment section. It's actually pretty fun to see who's interacting and who's there. Even just saying hello. On Instagram, it's nice to do the little wavy thing. On Facebook, let them know that you can comment and you will receive them and respond. Ask questions. Ask questions like things, what are your favorite parts about the home? Talk about things like what are the previous owner's favorite parts of the home? What are your personal favorite parts of the home? Do you love how the light hits in the patio? Normal things that you would talk about during a house tour. And then also go really, really slow with the camera. Everything seems like it needs to be rushed when you're holding the camera, but go slow, take your time, take some deep breaths. And I would do, while you're shooting, shoot a broad view of, the room or whatever area you're showing, and then do a detailed view So if you're showing the front of the house, do the broad view of the front of the house. Do a nice detail view of the most beautiful detail. Maybe it's the front door, it's beautiful yellow door or something. Show the detail, and then show the broad view again, and then go in and do your house tour and use that pattern while you're doing your tour. And I think that that's a really nice way to capture it in an entertaining and engaging way, is broad, detail, and then broad again, and go back and forth and talk about those details. Last tip, 5 to 10 minutes of buffer time when you're starting. So I generally like to jump on 5 minutes before go time. So if the meeting starts at 9 a.m., I'll jump on at 8:55. And then I'll also give 5 minutes after to make sure that people can jump on and start interacting before I'll start my actual content. So that gives 5 to 10 minutes of people, allows people to be able to get on and make sure that it's all working for them. And then they don't miss the intro. The last part that I have in my notes here is the evaluation side of things. So when you go live, make sure you save your content so that you have it for reuse in the future. You can recycle the content. And then also pay attention to how many people were on. Try to see if you can see when people were getting off, why were people leaving, and analyze all of the data that is available to you via the site that you're using or the platform that you're using. Facebook does a really good job if you have a Facebook business page. YouTube does a pretty good job. Instagram has analytics as well. You can't really pull analytics from Zoom, but you can tell if and when people are engaged on Zoom. So those are really nice things to evaluate. And then go back and watch yourself. Save it so you can watch yourself so you can see what you can do better the next time. What can you work on? Do you need to slow down? Do you need to stop saying things like that? So those are my pointers and tips. We are working on a worksheet of the how-to and the what-to moving forward with going live to do virtual tours. But you can do live for a lot of things. It's not just virtual tours. Like I said, you can go on for a meet and greet, something entertaining, something engaging. You can do something educational. It's the world is your oyster. You can go nuts with live, and it's really fun, and it's a great way to stay connected with your sphere. Just make sure, I would say the only don't is to show up unprepared. Do not show up live unprepared. It looks silly. Just make sure you have a plan and an intention, and whether or not people are there, it's recorded, right? So it's good content for the future. You can repost it onto your page. So as long as you have a plan and you're prepared and you have an intention, you are set up for success. And I am excited and looking forward to seeing all of you start your live virtual tours or live events soon. If you have any questions about them, as always, you can put them in the comments here, or you can email me at my new email, which is liz@silvercreekrealty.com. Feel free to email me or give me a call anytime. You know how to find me, and I will see you all next week if there are no questions.